bugs this tournament.
You were highlighting Taz being the only character. Well, you know, on the other side of that coin, the one that isn't the only character is that Velma. Coming in second right behind Velma is that Bugs. I believe we've seen 4 Bugs in this top 8. But let's waste no time right now, Ajax. Let's dive into the first game of this top 8.
Absolutely no time wasted at all. Losers, top 8, and 1 stock already going, being lost on the side of the stage. Trophy's Edge number 2, having that open space in the center to be able to find more of those downers, more of those spikes, especially from Superman. A lot of ice debuffs are going to be going out to try and slow those down so they can force that situation in the center.
I'm excited to see how this is actually going to play out here. You can see the way that Velma's being able to control so much of the space. You can see the megaphone there too to be able to put in that target for those words. Worlds hurt sometimes, man. It can actually give you a little bit of a paper cut, but look at the space that we're seeing so far. You have to worry about that Superman. You have to worry about those command grabs.
Other things that hurt too is salt and pepper, that tasty debuff that can happen for Taz. A lot of that got put onto Superman, but no worry whatsoever. 113 damage doesn't mean that much. Meanwhile, Taz trying to find his way back on. Gonna get away behind the center. A downer comes, and that's gonna be the first one for Zage to get the first 2 points on the board.
And that was fantastic there too, because Tiffany was over to the other side, but with Superman being able to take to the skies, you have to worry about getting sent all the way up into the ceiling.
Revenge KOs immediately right after. 2 lives already on each side. 65 here on Trophy's Edge too. You have a lot of room to separate, but everybody's fighting on the center. Both of them having those potions down. Another one being lost. Cider coming through. Are you gonna be able to make this back? No, you're gonna get doubled up on, and Tiffany and Stahly get game number 1.
Ajax, how is the first game going to be so volatile? That was like, what, 30 seconds? It basically felt like it was so short.
There's no world where this crowd and us walk away from this top 8 with our voices intact. And now, reminder as well, all the stress that has been leading up to this point, we are now in best of 5 territory. So that first game going to the side of Tiffany and Stahly. First bit of Trophy's Edge 2 we've pretty much seen all day. You kind of run the risk with that center platform, but if you have a good zoner comp, you can make that work. But because of that mobility attached to Superman, Vicky, they were able to really kind of manipulate the control in center and move them over to the side and walk them right to the abyss with those downers.
I know we've highlighted Velma and Bugs for so long, you know, but after Velma and Bugs, it's Superman that has been a problem. I love how you highlight the mobility, because you could currently see the way that Tiffany and Stahly have been able to bounce off of each other. You and I were kind of discussing it actually before we started diving into top 8, wondering what we're going to see from Tiffany and Stahly specifically. We had seen the Bugs, but it's the Superman that has made an impact on this team. Tiffany being a great ladder player, by the way, actually in the top 15 on the ladder online, and now bringing in this experience off of online into LAN has really paid off for this squad.
Yeah, every single one of these players has made it towards that top of the leaderboard before, and you're looking at the difference between these 2 perks. One thing that Tiffany and Stahly have over Courage and Zage, if they have the ability to get cooldown reduction faster by hitting people with an active debuff. They have it stacked so they get their cooldowns back within a second every time they get a melee hit. That's allowing them to get a lot more refreshes from Velma and a lot more access to the word bubbles, but you got to be able to get out of center stage there because Taz is going all the way down. Tasty debuff attached to Superman, just trying to run away.
Wants to take a big chop sometimes here too. You have to worry about that middle portion of the stage when it comes to Trophy's Edge, and that's what Superman's going to be able to excel in. Not only with the mobility, but you can see how they're trying to isolate Courage at the same time. Probably the best Taz that we have currently going on, but being not only the best, but the only one here in this top 8. Look at the pressure though and the space that Tiffany and Stahly have been able to buy in, just forcing Courage and Zage to be by the ledge.
And speaking of Stahly using all of that armor over the side, but immediately dipping out of that situation is Courage, because you saw that both of them were set up on the right. That's going to be a knockout off the top. Courage is going to get the pile up. That's a lot of damage. Sounds like the Belt's trying to force multiple defensive options to be used, but because of that word bubble coming in from Tiffany, allowed him to get away only momentarily.
He stopped for a little bit on the top side of the screen, and he still was able to actually get inward. You can't go anywhere. You have to worry about some of these spikes, especially with how big it is off to the stage.
Exactly, and something you might not expect from Taz is being a zoner. Look at how many of these apples are being thrown out, and every time they line up on one of those platforms, Vicky, they always have the ice potion down to set themselves up to make sure if they do decide to approach, they're going to be very slowed down, easy to find those Taz tornadoes.
And look at the follow-up that
we're
currently seeing from Tiffany right here too, but when Tiffany's going off, you have to think about Zage, but it doesn't matter. They still are able to get Courage at the same time, and you saw that Zage was actually trying to cover them by trying to punish Tiffany with the spike.
Exactly, but Stahly's movement is so good off stage, especially against a character like Taz who has minimal mobility off stage. It's so difficult to make it back, but that tornado's going to come through. That's going to break the armor, and that's going to find the up air, and that's going to get Courage in Zage. 3 lives up to 2.
You can yell at them all you want with that megaphone right there, but you saw that Stahly was isolated over to the side of the stage here. Courage and Zage having the advantage currently right now.
Momentarily.
They're actually playing, yeah, momentarily, but but momentarily, maybe not for long, maybe taking the game instead.
It was just a build up to the moment. Just needed to find that one mark, walk them off to the side, not able to get that wall touch. There were still defensive resources able to get in there, but because of the fact that T1ff4ny followed you all the way down to the blast zone, you can't afford to take that dare, you can't afford to take that tornado. You pretty much have to just write that life off, and if you have your teammate there, they can come in and try and hit him first, but it's very difficult with the positioning they had separating T1ff4ny and Stahly.
I feel like T1ff4ny and Stahly, too, at the very beginning, were a lot more shoulder to shoulder at the very start there. They were able to actually be very oppressive, controlling a lot of that stage, very similar to game number 1. But at the very end, the way that Courage and Zage were able to reverse that after that first spike was fantastic.
Exactly. Now we're going to take a trip away from T1ff's Edge 2 and go to just normal T1ff's Edge. No more center stage issue. Now, that was really good to control the center, like you were just alluding to. The red team, as each match progressed, even though they had the edge guards on the side of the blue team, red team was working way better. But avoiding that up special from Superman, you could be at 40, it doesn't matter, that could take you out.
And you know, it's about just getting that grab right there too. That's why you have to worry about the spikes that you go in for Superman, because if you mess up once, that is just too risky right now.
It's extremely dangerous, and now trying to get out of this situation over here. Taz coming on through, and they're coming through, but gonna get hit in the middle of all that is T1ffany. However, a lot of resources gone. Gonna get that wall touch at the bottom though. They got that hit to stop that sniper punch that could have also taken out Zage.
I really like the follows between Zage and Courage right now, but you see in the moment that they are put in that situation, Courage actually recognizes that, gets right beside Zage here. It's essentially just duking it out. There was a little reset right there between T1ffany and Stahly, so that way they can actually back up. You have to worry about the light, nice little stall right here too, but then you leave yourself opened up to get hit from right underneath.
She's thinking, and she found exactly the right answers. Got right underneath and got that up air, but able to get an answer back is that side air from Zage to get them at least one on the board. They have Superman at 90. They can find one soon, but Superman being the heaviest character, not an Iron Giant. When you got to double up like that, they're lucky they went to the left instead of the right.
Now everyone's got a big head, but just temporarily right now there too. Do you want to lower some of those cooldowns a bit here? He's just trying to block out any projectiles at the same time here, but they're going to be able to reverse this here. Look at the way that T1ffany and Stahly have just slowed down their own gameplay in the middle of all of this.
I think it's the right idea, too. You're trying to make them overextend, hopefully walk towards you, take advantage of this Superman armor, which is exactly what's happening right now. The up attack coming through, fully charged, 151, but one of those up airs could have connected, but because of T1ffany's awareness, the megaphone stopped it.
Oh, he wants it so bad, but the tornado actually sending him off to the bottom. It's a trade for trade here, and the wait by the wall to wait out on the teammate before actually trying to jump forward.
That was very smart, making sure you utilize your teammate to get you out of the situation, but only for so long as T1ffany and Stahly answer right back and get themselves up 2-1.
But this is what I love about top 8 here, Ajax. It's 3 out of 5 territory right now. Sure, they're sitting at match points, but the way that Courage and Zage have been able to adapt, especially after that second game, has been fantastic there. The follow-ups and the awareness from Courage specifically on that last life, you could see he's just cleaning onto the wall, waiting for Zage to come back before actually trying to commit to get right back to the stage.
They did an incredible job kind of invalidating the Taz as the match went on. Everybody was 250 plus damage, but Courage sitting over there at the 114 mark because of the fact that they just kind of overwhelmed Courage off to the side of the platform, got him off stage. Like you said, having to stay down there at the bottom, Taz does not have great mobility in those spots. Only so many options you could choose because everything's pretty much a horizontal-based recovery, so you got to jump or dodge directly into the Almighty Superman, and usually you're not walking away from that.
Especially when you're forced to use that utility. Of course, it is limited in this situation. You're stuck by the wall. You don't want to have to burn 2 jumps, get set forward, and then be forced to use your 2 specials, or the fact that you have to use your air dodges at the same time.
Exactly, and remember, this is elimination side now. This is now what could be set point for the run of Courage and Zage, keeping themselves in this run. And look in the crowd, everybody just watching this incredible top 8. Appreciate all of you this weekend who have been here with us, enjoying the very first official offline Multiversus event. Remember, $100,000 on the line in total prizes for the very first event, and these two are fighting for more of that. It is not over for Courage and Zage just yet.
Do you know what's crazy here, Ajax? You mentioned the $100,000 prize pool, but you know the player that's going to be walking away, regardless 7th or 8th here in this top 8, is lowest $3,500.
That is insane.
It's beautiful.
That is not McDonald's money. In fact, that is a trip over to the steakhouse, where we're going to see if T1ffany and Stahly get a little bit more to add to that, as they get a lot of they get a lot of salt and pepper attached to them right now. This the ice debuffs being attached, but because of Superman's aerial mobility, Vicky, it's kind of hard still to slow him down even with all those stacks.
It's insane there too. You know he's going to be able to try to get a lot closer. You have to worry about some of those perks so that way he can help out his own aerial accelerations there too. But the way he is dancing around Courage to focus on Zage, if you want some of the sauce, you're going to get some too here.
I agree with it heavily too, because if you take a look at Taz, look at all those cooldowns that are up right now. It is so difficult to try and box out because you don't have the pile up. You don't want to go for Tornado in that spot because it's obvious, so you try to overwhelm them in that situation. Very close game right now though. A lot of life still to be had. 111 attached to Superman doesn't really mean that much, but a good side air sending Taz off stage can easily find them early knockout.
What's really scary is not just the aerial mobility that Superman has, but he is the heaviest character that we have currently in the game right now. That since we're not playing Iron Giant, as that first life is going to be lost here. Courage and Zage, despite taking a lot of this damage, have been doing a really good job at staying grounded.
I like what Zage did there, kind of moved forward with that string instead of staying in place to go for the reset, catching T1ff4ny, trying to move forward to save Stahly out of that damage. Stahly already has 68 damage. You gotta watch out for that Sniper Punch though. That could have easily sent them deep off stage. Might have not found the knockout, but Taz getting in the way, helping helping Zage get back on the stage.
It could be a little tricky there too, since you currently have T1ff4ny doing a really good job at kind of frontlining just temporarily. You have to worry about Stahly, who's gonna be coming in from the back. Oh, he grabs a grab attempt, sit back down. You see the thunder. Oh! What happens when you try to spike Superman, Ajax?
She had a big old head and he snatched it, brought her all the way down to the bottom of the stage, just trying to look over like, what you think you're doing here? And now one life apiece, but 133 attached to Taz. It's not the smartest move to want to run right in, but you have to find one of these knockouts attached to this heavy amount of damage they have here, Vicky.
That ice breath when his head is humongous is also humongous. It's actually insane the amount of space that creates right there too. But can we talk about T1ff4ny's survivability right now?
It's been absolutely phenomenal. If you can keep yourself in these positions and then box your way out the way that T1ff4ny just did, catching that up air, but the falling up air answered right back from Zage.
Such a close game right now here between both of these teams currently. I love the way that T1ff4ny Stahly have slowed things down a little bit, have taken a different approach going into these next few games here. They do have that advantage that we were mentioning before. It is 2-1 currently, but the way they're getting popped up, the stall with the beam, so that way he can actually try to get out of that range, but then gets caught with the landing.
I love what Zage did there too. Got underneath the tornado, so you couldn't see that fact that they were kind of hanging around there, and snuck that up air right underneath Stahly. Now they only need one more to go, but because of his great health, it's making a little bit more difficult for blue team to rack up that damage.
Don't worry about that ice breath controlling some of that space there too, forcing the red team to stay by the side of the stage. Like you were talking about, that stage control is so important right now, and that's exactly what we're seeing from T1ff4ny and Stahly.
Yeah, that frost breath, that's kind of nasty. I'm gonna hide over on the side too. I'm not trying to talk to you while you're doing that, but that is such a good stage control method. And then here comes the downers, and they get themselves on the board. Everyone, we already have our very first game 5 of top 8.
This is what I love to see. This is what I was expecting. Within the last day and a half, I have been able to get so excited to see the different diversity of compositions that we've seen between so many of our teams. And although we have been seeing a lot of the Velmas, we have been seeing a lot of the Bugs, we have been seeing so many Supermans, it's the way of the way that a lot of these teams have actually been able to change things up in terms of their approach here. And the fact that we're already having such a close game in our very first set in top 8, it's a cherry on top, Ajax.
You could not have asked for better. You could not have asked for better from these teams. You see EVO all the time. You see how you put 2 competitors up on that big stage to try and make it all the way through multiple days to like get to that top situation. But here, relying on a teammate, working together, getting all the way through has been phenomenal. And I cannot wait to see what happens in this game 5. Remember, loser goes home here. That's it. It's over. And that's just to get 7th place.
Yeah. You gotta get that $3,500 though. At least you get to walk away with some of that extra pocket change. But you know what, Ajax? It's the big money prizes that we got our eyes set for. We saw a lot of trophies ahead, but we are going straight up here to the Haunted Mansion Scooby-Doo stage.
It is now time to ruin some property. We are in the mansion and we are gonna set one of the 2 pillars already down. Walls have been broken, and if you want some survivability, well, you got it here. You're gonna be bouncing off of those quite a bit. It all depends on how active they keep those out. One thing that Zage and Courage were doing earlier in the bracket though, Vicky, was they would let the Velma go off to the side of the stage and let Taz stay on the other so they could constantly poke out. And if you had to approach Velma, you had to jump, and that's a free commitment option you can punish.
And honestly, that's something else that I'm seeing right here as we see that the red team is stuck close to the ledge right now. You see the follow-up from some of these downers too, but it can be tricky in general with the ceilings being provided there. You don't really have to be so scared about that Superman command grab.
Yeah, after all of that spot of trying to control it for Velma, I cannot believe that miss. I cannot believe that miss, but it didn't matter because you got the follow-up hit anyways. this, and they get 2 on the board. T1ff4ny Stahly striking first with 2 lives in the lead.
The repositioning into the fact that he was able to cover so much of that, that down air, actually almost being able to get that so big because he was right on top of Zage when he got hit by that.
Exactly. Now the biggest thing is to be in this position is to stay calm. You have those projectile block perks. You have the ability to not get juggled, but 82 damage attached to Taz already. Everything has been working in favor of T1ff4ny and Stahly on their counter pick here for this last stage.
You can hear the crowd going absolutely crazy right now for both these teams currently. Almost got that follow-up right there, but it's those ceilings that we really have to think to really help out Courage and Zage, despite the match point going in favor for T1ff4ny and Stahly right now.
Oh, Zage getting the snipe with the apple, and Apple Day keeps Velma away, and I think I like that idea, and you gotta keep that going if you can get through this, but that's fully charged armor, but saving them at the last second to get through that upper-charged attack.
Oh, he's staying so close though by the ledge right there. You have to worry about that. Nice little trade right there for Zage as he's gonna be able to come right back in.
This is extremely close right now. 174 on Superman. You can't afford to take that hit, and you also can't let T1ff4ny take a lot of damage. So T1ff4ny's defense has been phenomenal, but right now Zage currently facing a 2v1, just trying to get away, but Courage coming back in.
He's at 204 and climbing and climbing. He's still alive. How is he still alive? The survivability of Superman is insane.
The structural foundation of this building is something realtors wish that they could sell to everyone, but somehow Superman is staying in this whole time. Great health attached to help avoid some of that knockout. A lot of debuff, but it does not matter. Pile up is going to finally find the mark though. 2 lives apiece.
It had to have been done. It had to have been done. He is the Man of Steel for a reason out here though, but he lived for as long as he could.
Let's see if that we can see that same thing out of Taz. 7 gray health. Finds him off stage. You pretty much have no other options here. As Courage, you cannot engage. Here comes the cops. You gotta watch out. But the immediate break to stop that. But the neutral attack is gonna stop it. And T1ff4ny and Stahly continue here in loser side of top 8.
Stahly Superman is disgusting. The repositioning options too to be able to go on the other side of the stage right there. He did it before. He did the option covers to actually go for the downer, but then he does it again and he makes sure he's gonna take it all the way downtown over to the horizontal side of that blast zone.
Easily the MVP.